What's going on, y'all? Psych Perspectives, GeoFucks in the building. And I want to talk about the economy, okay? The cost of living. How classism is really... classism mixed with runaway capitalism, and how it's basically, in my opinion, destroying the world. And I want to preface with saying, yes, there are lazy millennials. There are lazy millennials. This is very true. But guess what? There's also lazy Gen Xers. There's lazy baby boomers. There's lazy Gen Zs. There's laziness in every generation. That doesn't, necessarily discriminate. It goes for regardless of the age or the generation. There are going to be people who feel like they shouldn't have to do anything and should have all of the successes and triumphs given to them just because they exist. There are people like that across generations. Now, I admit, yeah, there's some lazy millennials, However, when you look at a lot of these jobs, there's no real incentive for someone to be going beyond the call of duty. There's no real incentive for someone to be burning the candle wax at both ends. There's no real incentive. I mean, let's look at today's jobs. You're not paying people a living wage. You're paying people poverty pay. Many are living and working paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people have to work 2 and 3 jobs or have some type of second side hustle, some type of supplemental income to offset the cost of living and their bills and responsibilities. And people are working 40, 50, 60, 80 hours a week and still barely making ends meet because of the high cost of living, because of the inflation, because the fact that none of us are actually making a living wage most of the time. On top of the fact that so many of us owe a shit ton of money. Like, let's be real here. So many of us, especially in the millennial, late Gen X, and some of the Gen Zers, so many of us owe student loan debt. So you're already coming into the world at a disadvantage. You know what I mean? You can't even start adulthood off correctly. Because for many of us, we are already coming into adulthood in debt. We're already coming in with a price tag on our head. So in my personal experience, I owe $46,000 plus. And what's really jacked up is how you are making payments every month, but the payments, the majority of the time, are like 50% or more of your payment is going to interest. You're not even touching the principal. So you could be paying $200-$300 a month and you're just pretty much paying interest. And interest is accruing every 10 days. There are 30 days in a month. So basically 3 times a month, your interest is accruing on your principal. So again, how are you ever supposed to pay any of this off when you're making $200-$300 payments each month? And then you have people who basically are paying mortgages and they don't even have a house. And what I mean by that is you have people where their student loans are $600, $700, $800, $900, thousands of dollars a month, and they're still mostly paying the interest and not the principal. And again, I'm on an income based payment plan because, again, if I wasn't on an income based payment plan, I would be paying like $500 something a month for my student loans. And I'm just like, wait a minute. That's basically half of a person's check every 2 weeks at a lot of these jobs. Because again, yes, it's 2020 and people are still only or barely or not even making $1,000 every 2 weeks, which ain't shit in the grand scheme of things. Because that's basically saying you're only making $500 a week, which again, you're supposed to pay $500 a month to your student loans when you're only making $500 a week? How is any of this fair? How is any of this making any real sense? Okay. Then let's talk about, living expenses, right? So a lot of us need to pay rent, pay mortgage, homeowners insurance, rental insurance, utility bills, your heating, your cooling, electric, gas. You got a phone bill, you've got internet, you got to buy food, you got to have car insurance, you got to think about car maintenance, you need gas to get to and from work. Or if you don't have a car, you got to think about transportation. Do you have a monthly bus pass? Are you using Uber? Are you using taxi? Are you paying other people to take you here and there? All of this comes into play. And let's not forget, most of us don't have cookie cutter lives. So unexpected things happen, like, hey, your car has an issue. You need an oil change. Your transmission went out. You're driving on the highway and something hits your windshield and now you have a cracked windshield. All kinds of different things can happen. Unexpected health issues that land you in the ER. Nobody is expecting, or nobody knows when someone is going to pass away. So you might have a family member that passes away. You never know what's going to happen. Because again, the majority of us do not have cookie cutter lifestyles. Another thing that I like to think about too, we don't have cookie cutter family structures. So a lot of us are expected to assist, to help family members. So not only are you barely making ends meet, but a lot of us are expected to share our income with other family members. So you really think about that. Think about the people who have children. They have to take care of their kids. So their income is not just their income. And again, especially people of color, especially women, especially lower income, working class, working poor, we are expected to help our families. There is no individuality here. We're expected to help mom, dad, granny, papa, uncle, brother, sister, aunt. We're expected to step in to help the nephews, the nieces. We're expected to. So again, when you start looking at all of these responsibilities, all of these liabilities, all of the cost of living, inflation, the low to stagnant wages that many of us are making, the high cost of living, it's basically impossible in many cases to prosper, to thrive, to have any real upward mobility. And I don't think people really sit down and look at that. Like, it's really a struggle out here. It is not easy at all. And to be honest, it's not even stable or manageable. In many cases, it's not even doable. Because again, something has got to give. And I'm going to say it. A lot of us are working for companies, businesses, corporations, organizations that are making hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Some are making billions of dollars a year while paying their employees pennies on the dollar, bro. While paying their employees poverty pay while they're sitting up, oh, we just closed $10 billion this month. And yet your employees don't get to see any of that. They're sitting up here trying to figure out, do they need to sell plasma on the weekend so they can have some extra dollars in their bank account so they can go and pay the lighting bill? These are the dilemmas that many people are facing with full-time jobs. Keep that in mind, because like I said, a lot of us have full-time jobs, but we don't have living wages. So it defeats the purpose. You're working 40 plus hours a week, but you have little to nothing to show for it because the wages are so low and stagnant and the cost of living is so high. I'll be doing more videos on this topic. Let me know how you're feeling What are you doing to cope, to survive? Are you working 2 and 3 jobs? How are you saving? How are you budgeting? What are some tips that you would offer to other people? Let us know. Each one teach one. I'm out.